All
All right.
right.
You're in charge, Wes.
Okay, sounds good. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Wes Freeman. I'm the Director of Implementation and Training at BookLog. And what I want to do today is just take you through version 17 of BookLog, just kind of talk about some of the features that are in it. And as we go along, if you have questions, just feel free to ask them. You can chat, you can unmute yourself and ask that way. That way, it's fine either way. And I can, of course, just we can go off on tangents. What I'm going to present here about version 17 is in several videos that we have on YouTube. We have a channel now you can subscribe to, and there's training videos there. They're just kind of informative videos, letting you know about features that we have, and we're always making more of them. So look for us on YouTube, and you can find sort of the studio version of what we're doing live right now. I'm going to start with adoptions because there are a few things that could be useful there to people. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to, I've turned my mouse into a star stamp, so I'm going to back off of that. Give me just a second. I'm going to open up a different version of BookLog as well. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take us to adoptions first. And I'll preface this by saying that 17 does not have any kind of resizing functionality that 16 didn't have. So that's still the same. It's a function of Power Builder, which is the language that we program it in. And I don't know when it's going to change, if ever, but just want to preface it by saying that. What I do want to show you, though, is that as terms expire now, they're not listed on the academic terms list. So once those are gone, you don't have to sort through them. You can always see them if you want to hit show past terms, but you're not required to. So you can hide them once they expire. Another change that's sort of related to adoptions here is that each item, and I'll find one here. No text, we'll go down to English.
All I see is a blank BookLog screen.
That's it? Interesting.
Same.
Yes, that's what we have too.
Me too.
Okay, well, that can't be very exciting. Let's try sharing the screen again. Oh, okay. Any better? Mouse here moving around?
I can see it now, Wes.
Yahoo. All right. Well, if that happens again, just unmute yourself. Thank you very much for doing that. So I'm going to go to maintenance and academic terms and show you what I was just showing you before. All the academic terms that are that have passed their end of sales date don't show up anymore, or actually have passed their end date, don't show up here anymore. And you can click show past terms and you can see them. And click hide past terms, and then you won't. So it's easier to navigate this list than it used to be. Another function here that's tied to let's do my life. Another function that's tied to adoptions is for these books that you adopt. You can see they're open to buy when you're in item maintenance. So you can just click this and then see what the current open to buy is for a title. You don't have to go to adoptions anymore to see that. And that's nice. Also, in adoptions itself, in this maintain courses and adoptions window, you can put in actual enrollment. Before, you had to go to the adoptions menu, and then you would have to click enrollments and estimated sales and put in the adoptions or the actual enrollment there. But now you can just put it right into adoptions, when you're sitting there. So as you're adopting items in. And of course, the SRI will still populate this and keep it up to date for you. But let's see what else. I'm just curious, is there anyone who does email their campaign or their do an email campaign for adoption requests? Do you guys send those out through BookLog? All right. Okay, there's some changes there that might be useful if you ever start to. Is there anyone using Timber e-adoptions? Okay, good. Right there in front. You see Laura. Okay, so that a lot more people are going that way. We're getting a lot of people starting to use Timber adoptions. And has it been, is it functional now? Is it something that you've got and you're getting ready to use, Laura, or is it already in motion?
We've been using it since the beginning.
Oh, great.
So we've been kind of a pain in Nathan's rear since the beginning.
I'm
we have-
sure he enjoys it.
We have trouble with our ability to send and receive mass emails back and forth. So you really can't use us as an example for any of that. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. That's too bad. Your IT department is tough. Okay, so that's good. A lot of people are doing that, and that involves folks. You would have to encourage your faculty members to go online and fill out their adoption forms online on Timber, and then those would be delivered to BookLog, and they'll show up here in adoptions. So it's a way a lot of people are going. Okay. All right. I'm going to move over to the retail side here, and we're going to talk about sales a little bit. There's some changes around there, but any questions before I head over there? All right. A lot of the changes, okay. I think I see kind of how Zoom handles this. I'm going to share my screen again, so give me just a moment. Okay, do you guys see a mouse arrow moving around? Good, all right. Thanks for your patience on this, by the way. This is, I thought it was going to be just the Northern Lights back here and a bunch of drawing, so I'm learning too. All right. A lot of the changes that we've made to the retail side of BookLog have been with mail orders, because the pandemic obviously has changed retail sales significantly for customers. And there are going to be a few important things to know about how mail orders have changed. We go over here to mail orders. One thing to remember with mail orders now, when people are renting mail orders online and they come in, you can't change the rental flag in a mail order anymore. We restricted that because cashiers were just kind of unrenting items and selling them instead. So there were lots of complaints about that. So that's been changed. And it's just so you know, moving forward. But also, what we can do now is alert cashiers when mail order customers come in that they have a mail order to be picked up in store. You can set up in-store pickup for your mail order items, like I've done for this one. When you get a mail order in from Timber, when you enter one in on your own, you can change your shipping method to be in-store pickup. And then when Gary Pertle comes in, he'll be notified that his mail order is in. Like that. So he can pick up his item, you can just double click on it. And it'll take you right to the mail order. You can process it from there. So to set that up, you've got to go to the maintenance menu and then store. And then under defaults, you set up what your in-store pickup method is going to be, what shipping method you're going to use, and then choose it here. And if you don't already have one called in-store pickup, it's easy to add. You can just go to the maintenance menu, come down to shipping, MO shipping method, and then insert one in here. You can call it whatever you like. And then any mail order that gets flagged with this shipping method is going to have that behavior. So as soon as you put in the customer's name at the register, it's going to take you right into their mail order, so you can finish that and then sell them the item. Another function in sales that might be important, this one doesn't specifically have to do with mail orders, but we'll be showing more of those mail order changes later, is you can, category by category, require that a customer's name be present in the register to sell the item. So if you have issues with cashiers or clerks not putting in those names for items you really need names for, you can require that now. They won't be able to move past this unless they put in a customer's name. And it's a category-wide restriction. It's not a departmental restriction, so it's something you would have to go through and set category by category. But it's pretty handy. Let's see. Another sort of sales-related function has to do with how we handle rental. Not my wife, my wife. One of the changes that we put in place has to do with rentals that are in multiple terms, in overlapping terms. So if I'm here in the register and I'm going to rent an item that's in more than one term, you used to have to go through a long drop-down menu that included every section, you know, every course that the item was adopted for. Now you can just, you know, choose a term, which is much simpler. And so if I'm, you know, if this is for the spring, I can say it's for the spring. If not, I can say it's for the fall. Another thing you can do is you can research and change a student's rentals right from the touch screen. I'm trying to remember, does anyone here have the touchscreen module? Okay, the touchscreen is going through a lot of changes. Version 18 is going to have a completely different look to it with the touchscreen. So in some cases, I've not recommended the touchscreen to people because it's really useful for food service, but not as useful for the bookstore. But in the future, touchscreen is going to be pretty nice. And I have a little bonus at the end. I can show you a little screenshot of what the buttons look like if anyone wants to stick around. But it had limits that you couldn't really move past. And it couldn't do everything that the normal register could do. So it had some advantages because it was really easy to understand and learn how to use, but there were also things that it just couldn't do. So all those have been removed. And then in version 18, you'll be able to do a lot of things you couldn't do before. So. Okay, there are a few things with rentals as well that we should talk about. I already talked about, you know, not being able to remove that rental flag in the mail orders. This kind of cleaned up prompt that's here in the register for overlapping terms. But also you can now, if you set up your own rental fees in BookLog, and let's see, I'm gonna have to switch again, so you're gonna see the screen go away for just a moment. Share the screen again. Is my mouse arrow moving? Yay, all right. So if you've set up fees for your rental items, kind of customized fees, you can now clear them out. It might not have been obvious to everybody that you can set up customized fees. But when you click the rental tab for an item, you can set up the fees that you would like to charge here. I think Nebraska's fees import there and MBS's, but you can overwrite them and you can put in your own fees here and charge them. But now you can clear them all out, which is nice. So to do that, you can just go to utilities and global changes, get the scary message, and you can come down and you can remove the fee from here. Get the item rental flag, item rental in-store flag, it's another new function, and then the riskless rental flag. But yeah, clear, no, where are you? Right. Okay, well, I'm obviously misremembering where we put that. So I'll find that and I'll email it out to you later. But another function is you can remove those in-store flags too, just like you could the item rental and the vendor rental. And there's a rental return history report, which is good too. So if you needed to know information about, where are you? Rental return history. If you needed to know information about who brought back an item when, you can see all of the items that were returned from this date. I'll click OK here. So you can see the term. And then you're just seeing kind of a bird's eye view of what your returns have been. So this contributes to the kind of ongoing calculation that you need to do for your rental returns. And just kind of showing what the profit is there. You can also, I'm going to just switch over again, so give me just a second. You can also report on the valuation of your items in a new way. We do average cost. It's one of the ways that we can value your inventory. And now for each item, you can see a history of that valuation and understand how you came to this average cost. So if I click valuation right here, I can see a history of how this item got to whatever the average cost is. And this button is available on every item on the retail side. So we've had a lot of questions lately about average cost, how it works. And this is just to show in a very transparent way how this number comes out. So valuation is a nice thing to know about too. And there's a report that goes along with it as well. Go to reports here. And you can see an item valuation report. And just look at an individual item and then you can have a printout of it. So, or export it to Excel. Right. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about mail orders. There are kind of some small functions here that might be useful. So I'll go to sales and then mail orders. And I'll point out a few things. There's this auto refresh option. Every 2 minutes, BookLog goes through and sees if there are any new mail orders for you. And if you've changed anything about an existing mail order, it brings those changes up here. So it'll show you a new customer, new pricing, new items, whatever it would be. If you've closed one, that will show up here. And unlike most of our menus that don't really get used in the same way that the mail order pick list does, and this has been kind of confusing to some folks. It's been a little bit hard to keep track of what changes they've made, whether or not they have made a change, and when it's going to show up. So you can uncheck auto refresh, and BookLog will wait for you to close the menu and then bring it back up to see the changes. So just be aware that that is there. that auto refresh works on lots and lots of pick lists in BookLog to kind of update your changes.
So Wes, how would the auto refresh differ from what's going on right now?
The auto refresh is actually happening automatically. So everything is auto refreshing as it is.
So this
is a
will
menu.
just allow us to control what we're doing then?
It'll just allow you to turn it off, basically. So you can just uncheck this and then it'll stop auto refreshing, at least for as long as you're looking at it. So, and mail orders is a list where people spend a lot of time, especially around rush, when those orders are all coming in. So, and this is the only list that you can uncheck that for. The rest of them just continue to auto refresh. You can send out emails to people who place mail orders. That's not new functionality, but one thing that is new is that you can add the cost of the shipping to that email. So those emails get set up by going to maintenance and store on the retail side of BookLog, going to SOMO, and then setting up your email notification here. You just kind of set it up like a mail merge, and there's a a format that comes with this. It's just a standard template. One second. And then you can now, what's different is you can add in the shipping cost. You just add total sale there. And it'll include the shipping cost within it. So. Do people send those emails out of BookLog for mail orders? Most of those coming from Timber. Okay. All right. Another change with mail orders is, every item has its own adjustments tab. Click adjustments right there. And it'll show the whole history of the item. It'll show any time that an item changed for any reason other than sales. So if you returned the item to the vendor, that would show up. If you received the item, that would show up. If you did physical inventory for the item, that would show up too. And then if anyone went in and just changed the quantity on hand for an item, that would also show up. What we've added is mail order and special order information too. So if the quantity of that item changed because it was on hold or because it's sold as a special order or a mail order, that would show up here. I think book fairs will also show up there as well. So you should be able to look at this and get all of the information you need about why the item's quantity on hand is what it is. And we don't have any multi-store customers in the call, do we? I don't think we do. Okay. A little bit of a change there. Now, I don't know if anyone is using what's called the user-defined lists in BookLog, but these are just big lists of items that you want to group together for whatever reason you want. So stock room, a display table, items that you want to discount, especially for students. You can group them together and then you can report on them separately. You can create promotions just for the items on this list. You can do lots and lots of useful things. All you've got to do is hit insert and then start scanning in the items that you want to be a part of this list. And then, of course, name the list something. And then you've got these items together so you can work with them. And when you're doing promotional pricing events, so I'm going to go to sales, marketing, promotional pricing. I'm going to insert a new promotional pricing event. I can set up a sale that would just be for these items. And even set up the sale so that these items are on sale at whatever parameters I put in, just to these customers. So I can tie them all to being, promoted just specifically to one group of people. What's different now about these lists is that you can also add them to purchase orders. So you can create a standing purchase order basically as a user-defined list. And then when you're auto-creating POs, you can add items from one of those lists. So that's a really powerful function, but it's maybe not one that's obvious to folks yet. Now, I'm not sure how many people are using the user-defined lists yet anyway, but they're pretty handy. All right. You can also, when you're creating orders, exclude ebooks from your auto-created POs. I'm kind of looking over my list and seeing if I need to change the other screen or if I can get around it or not. But I think I need to change to text management. So let me pop over. One moment. All right. So a couple of changes that can be useful to you on the text side are that when you're looking at vendors, you can now put in special instructions that will always appear on the POs that you send in. So if you need for this vendor, 100 Fires Books, to know how to ship items or how to group them for you, or if you need any special instructions to go to this vendor, you can put it in here and it will show up on every PO that you send out to this vendor. Another change, let's see, where did I put you? Oh yeah, another change that's going to be nice, this is kind of a fix, is when you're auto-creating POs on the text side, which means that you're just pulling items that are in your open to buy, BookLog will exclude ebooks. So it's not going to try and place orders for these like virtual items that you can't receive anyway. That was happening for some folks and it was confusing. So if there are ebooks that you get from vendors that you also get hard copy books from, those ebooks won't show up on the POs anymore. And then of course you can already exclude old and out of print items, which is nice too. So that's kind of the tour of version 17. A lot of the things that are in there are kind of retail based. So they're there to help customers who are kind of trying to weather the pandemic and need to stay in business just from retail sales until things calm down, if they do. So that's a lot of what's in there. In version 18, which will be coming out next year, there's going to be a huge update. Touchscreen is going to be part of what's updated, and I mentioned that before. But also the back end of BookLog is going to get updated too. And you're going to see a few changes, like the programmers call them grids. You'll see columns. What's a good example? I'll go to the buyback register. So there are these columns here in the buyback register. And you can increase them or decrease them. And the buyback register is pretty new in BookLog time, so which means it's only like 10 years old. And these grids were possible to add during the time that it was built. But those grids weren't possible over on the other side of BookLog, on the retail side. So one of the changes that you'll see is that these grids are possible on the retail side too. You can make the columns for purchase orders or the cash register or anything like that, bigger or smaller. And I'd imagine more is going to come from that functionality as well. But what it allows us to do is completely reprogram our touchscreen, which is good. It'll now be more usable on tablets, on mobile devices. You can go around with, and that's becoming for new sales almost a requirement. So it'll be easier to use there. And yeah, I think a lot of the functionality is going to get a big boost. But it will require that it's not going to be an update where you can just run a little file and then BookLog gets updated. There's going to have to be a whole unpacking and reloading of the database, like what happened with version 11, which was back in 2011, 2010. So it'll be a big one.
How long are we talking about installation then?
It'll depend on the number of seats, but I think that process for packing and unpacking the database is going to be about 5 minutes long, and more for bigger databases. And it will require a tech, a BookLog tech. I don't know why I'm pointing at myself. I'm not one, but BookLog techs out wherever they are in their homes. So they'll have to get on with you, or with an IT person. They'll have to export and then repack the database. And like I say, I think it's going to take about 5 minutes, and then they'll move on from there.
Okay.
But that'll have to happen with everything. And probably the installation will drop a new version of SQL on the clients too. So where before you would just double click on something, it says you want to unzip this to your BL132 directory, you would say yeah, and then you just wait a second and then it's done. That process will probably be longer. But this is all early days. I'm still seeing it kind of as a, it's not even at the beta testing stage yet. So it's pretty early to say, but in any case, expect a big update when version 18 comes out. And if you want, I can show you what the touchscreen register looks like. This is super secret. Pulling back the curtain here, so pardon me a moment. I'm assuming this is going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to bring that up. Do you guys see Outlook? Good. All right. Let me get this teed up for you. Aha. Okay. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
I still see BookLog.
Okay, that's good. I'm just getting it
Okay.
to where I need it to be. New share. Here we go. Okay, so this is what our touchscreen is going to look like. Here's the normal register part. It does everything that the register would do, but you can interact with it using these buttons over on the left-hand side. So you can punch, cancel sale, item lookup, change discount, anything you see. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it's really, really easy to train people on. Temps, part-timers, anything like that. And you can create what are called sub-items, items and sub-items. So if there are items that you want to, items you sell a lot of that you can't really ring up without scanning like a barcode that's in a binder or a little barcode you keep by the register, you can punch this items button. It'll bring up these items. You can just hit a button and it will pop right into the register. And then you can also create groups of these items too. So if you had like a supplies sub-item category, you could hit sub-items here and then go to your category for supplies and bring them up from that. So it's nice. Also, it works with FA Link, which was not the case in the past, but it does now. So, and another function that I think is coming is selling at cost plus a percentage. That'll be nice too. All right, well, I have gabbed a long time. The northern lights blowing soothingly behind me. Are there any questions that I can answer, or any questions about what you saw or anything else? All right.
Hey, Wes.
No, go right ahead.
Hi, Cindy from Bowdoin.
Hi, Cindy.
Nice to see you all.
Good to see you.
So maybe I've missed something because I haven't attended a lot of the BookLog things lately. But do you already have, or will you be getting like a small unit, like for mobile pay, that would have BookLog on it and everything that you can bring out to like a sale outside in the quad or something?
Sure, absolutely. If you have a Windows tablet, then you can use BookLog on that.
Windows tablet. Mhm.
Yeah. So like kind of the Windows version of the iPad, you can take that out. We have portable scanners. We have portable printers. The credit card option, though, is still tied to these credit card devices that we get from Verifone. So what some of the customers that we have who use this will use is Square. And we have an interface with Square. We can't actually you can't charge cards through Square and have those charges go to BookLog, but you can export a sale, potential sale, like a book fair, to Square, and then you can use that in Square. And then after you make your sales, you can send all those sales back to BookLog, which is nice. But it would require that your store have a Square account.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. We're also looking at Wi-Fi capable little card readers that are also EMV compliant, and there just aren't that many at the moment. At least not that are affordable. So we have a few options, and we're testing them out, but we don't have anything yet.
Okay.
Good question, Cindy. Thanks. All right. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay, well, I guess this is my time. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for your patience also while I figured out how to use all this stuff. And yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. I'll send an email out about where to find how to clear out those customized rental fees too.
All right. Thank you very much, Wes. Thank you all, especially for the added issues we had with having to restart the meeting. And hopefully we'll see you later, or either in the timber user group or in the alternative revenues later this afternoon. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.